right. Welcome, guys, to the MMOs.com podcast. Episode 147 here. Altai here, joined this week by...
Omer.
Once again. All right. Any starting words, or do you want to jump to the weekly raid?
Big 147.
That's not 147 isn't special.
It's special, all right?
150 is special.
It's my favorite three-digit number that ends with a 7, all right? Anyway, let's get right to the weekly raid.
All right, here
let's
we
get
go.
a spicy one.
Okay, so this one is, do you support the EU General Data Protection Regulation, aka GDPR? For those of you who don't know what this is, it was signed 2 years ago, but it's going to go into effect just this month, in May, late May. And what this is clearly aimed at things like Facebook and YouTube and Google, right? But gaming is getting caught in the crossfire. So for those of you who are wondering, why does this matter for MMOs? I'm getting to it, okay?
We're getting there. There's a reason behind this.
Yes. So this is basically going to give EU citizens a lot more rights in what companies can do with their data. It's going to give them right to ask for that data to be deleted. That data will be portable from company to company, and all that kind of stuff. The companies got to tell you what they're doing with your data at all times, whenever you want. And all companies that have customers in the EU have to comply by this regulation. If they don't comply, they face a fine of 20 million euros or 4% of their global revenue, whichever one's bigger, whichever those numbers is bigger. Okay, So why does this matter for games? Already, before this even came into effect, remember, it comes into effect May 25th, we've got two big bombshells. Well, one bombshell, one like little bullet. The bombshell is Warpportal, which is owned by Gravity. They publish Ragnarok Online, Rose Online, a bunch of other stuff. They already said, you know what, we're done with the EU. No more EU servers for us. Because they don't want to comply with this rule. And the only way to get around having to comply with it is just blocking EU citizens. So they're going to impose an IP block on all EU countries for their games.
I like how you said like games like Ragnarok Online and one other game. Can you name any more? Rose. Can you name the other games?
Of course. Draganica, Requiem.
All right. You know them.
Yeah. Come on.
All right. It was a blanket ban. Fortunately, before people in Europe are not losing access to Ragnarok Online. There's something called European Ragnarok Online called ERO, which is still going to be a thing, and it's still available to Europeans. However, the Europeans can no longer play on international Ragnarok Online, IRO, which they previously did have access to. They had a choice if they want to play on European Ragnarok Online or on international Ragnarok Online, and now they have no choice for their further. And other Warpportal games besides Ragnarok just are not available in Europe. I don't think you can play Requiem by any other publisher besides Warpportal. So it already affects what Europeans can play, and simply looks like Warpportal did not want to comply with these rules, and arguably the cost of compliance would have been more than just IP banning all these individuals anyway. So I think at the end of the day, this is actually going to hurt gamers and customers in Europe.
I don't think so. I think obviously this rule was made for, like I said, Facebook and Google, right? Not for these small gaming companies. They're getting caught in the crossfire. And there was one other one that got hit by this. Super Monday Night Combat. Do you remember that game anymore?
Yeah, it was a fun game.
Yeah, it's a little tiny game. It was floating around with like almost no players for years now. But this was a death knell. They don't want to comply with this, so they're just shutting it down, period. I think a few small games will be caught in the crossfire like this, but I think it's a good law. I think the EU is ahead of the curve on this stuff, and I think because of this law, EU citizens will have way more privacy going forward than people.
Who cares? Privacy? 2018? Let's be real. You're a 12-year-old. You get up in the morning. You get a big bowl of cereal. You pour some more sugar on it to make it even more delicious. And you want to play some Ragnarok Online, all right, on IRO. You want to play some fucking Dragon Saga, all right? You want to play Requiem. You don't give a shit about privacy. You want to go on your PC and play the shit out of these games. You could care. You could give two shits about privacy. Now you just can't play these games anymore.
No, but
and you're telling me it's good for this kid?
Yes, I am.
Why is it good for little Johnny?
Because a dystopian world, we're gonna go down, and China's already going down. Okay, in China, you already have like you get cameras in every corner, AI facial recognition. The government knows everything about you. If you say swear words on the internet, you get like negative demerits. You can't get a mortgage. You can't get into a good school. It's too controlling. And before you think it's a conspiracy, Facebook got in huge trouble in America over this recently, where they basically allowed third-party companies to just siphon everything that they had on user profiles if they wanted to. The whole Zuckerberg had to go on to Congress and yap about this for a while.
That was because of a security flaw they had. They accidentally gave access to like all these profiles that were unintended. That was like just a security problem. No, I don't think it's the same thing.
No. I'm trying to say, imagine you're 12 years old, right? Your scenario. Okay, you're playing.
I want to play Ragnarok.
Yeah, sure. You're on Facebook. You're on YouTube. You're on everything. Okay. You say stupid shit. You like post pictures of your 12-year-old dick, and you send it to your friends. Whatever. 12 stupid shit.
Whoa.
Whatever.
I want to grind some goddamn pecos, all right? I ain't sending nobody my 12-year-old dick.
Look, whatever shit a 12-year-old's doing, okay? 13, 14, 15, 16, okay? Now, Facebook has all that, right? Or Gravity. Somebody has all that shit, right? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Now, when you're 30 and you're running for Congress, okay, you're going to get a call from Mr. Zuckerberg. He's going to be 80 at the time, okay? He's like, oh, Mr. Omar, you did this when you were 15. You put that video up when you were like putting your toe in this girl's ear in this game, right?
I did do that. Do that. My toe was firmly in this girl's ear.
And now let's say you just won Congress, your election or whatever, right? Now you're in his pocket, baby. He goes, I want you to do this for me. You're in his
bullshit.
He's gonna release that shit. Oh, he has the logs. How can he deny it?
There's a video of Trump saying grab him by the pussy, and now he says it was all bullshit.
Well, Trump
doesn't matter. He's president.
Trump is Trump.
Facts don't matter. Facts don't matter. It doesn't matter. Get it out of here.
No. Trump, it doesn't matter to Trump. It doesn't matter to Trump. Okay, you're not Trump.
I'm bulletproof.
You're not bulletproof.
No, listen. First of all, I think you're conflating two separate things. I do think there's more data being volunteered in something like Facebook, or what you buy on Amazon, right? Versus a game like Ragnarok Online. Like, how much information are you actually giving them? You give them your name. They don't even ask for your address or anything. They ask you, I think, country sometimes. They ask you for an email address and a country and a username and password. That's all the data you give them. And once you play that game, are they going to collect data on my killing habits? Who gives a shit?
Whoa. They're allowed to collect the data. So all this regulation does is say the user agreement, right, has to be very clear. Okay, so I love this part of the law. So I'm going to read it out loud. Okay, guys, give me a moment here. The conditions for consent have been strengthened, and companies will no longer be able to use long, illegible terms and conditions full of legalese, as the request for consent must be given in an intelligible and easily accessible form, with the purpose for data processing attached to that consent. Consent must be clear and distinguishable from other matters and provided in an intelligible and easily accessible form using clear and plain language. It must be as easy to withdraw consent as it is to give it.
Listen, there's two parts of that I agree with. The fact that you want to make it easy to understand and legible outside of legalese, that's fine. So hypothetically, I think a game company like Warpportals should be able to say, when you sign up their account, in basically 2 sentences, by signing up, we will collect data and do whatever we want with that data, and there's nothing you can do about it. You don't like it, don't sign up. And you cannot withdraw consent. We're going to get all this data.
That's the second part of the law.
Listen,
you can't, okay.
But they should be allowed to say that. And in very clear English, basically, what's happening today in long terms of service is basically what I just said. In all those huge documents, terms of service, it basically says in so many words, we can do whatever the fuck we want with your data when you sign up to the service, and there's nothing you can do about it. But the problem is they use all these long words to say what I just said in 2 sentences.
Okay, I'm going to go...
If you communicate that clearly in less words, and if you're looking at it, why can't you consent to that? Why can't you agree that you can track my poor and killing habits, you can track what I say in Ragnarok Online, and I give you my permission, and I don't care. Why can't I give you that consent if I want to give that consent?
But it's for the same reason that people today cannot sell themselves into slavery. Okay, because you...
So killing porings in Ragnarok Online and volunteering my data is the equivalent of selling myself into slavery.
All right, well, here's an example I'll give you. It's a very good one. Basically, our laws governing property today, right, still reference really ancient customs of like sheep and like trading sheep with each other, right? So the data laws we put into place today, laws like this, will in the future, very near future, govern the laws around our information. Like imagine like you go to McDonald's, you drink a Coke, right? And then the McDonald's manager takes your saliva from the cup and then clones you, dresses as a clone like you, and then like robs a bank with robs your bank account with your photo with your thumbprint.
Well, you're taking this as a pretty ridiculous extreme.
It's not extreme.
He made a pretty good comment.
No, who was the comment?
He said unless there's real harm being done, there is no reason to overstep here. And the real harm indicate what is the harm being done over a 12-year-old playing Ragnarok Online or Requiem or Dragonica or Dragon Saga on
there is no harm.
Portal service.
No, there's no harm.
Where's the harm there?
There's no harm. There's no harm. But as long as
what's the problem then?
As long as they comply, all they have to say is tell the users what is being done with their data, and give them the right to delete that stored data at the will of the customer. Now, again, we are moving into an information age, right? I think we all understand that. We're gonna have a cashless economy, all digital transactions, right? 100%.
Hold on. It's like, that's bullshit, though. What you just said, the right to delete your data.
Yeah.
Let's say you're walking outside in public dressed as a Power Ranger or something, right? And I look at you. Let's say I record you. Do you have any right to tell me that? Oh, you have to delete your data. You have to delete that video you just took of me. I mean, no, it's called fucking freedom, buddy.
No. It depends on where it is. If I'm in my house,
you're in public.
In public, this is not.
Fine.
Warpportals not public.
You come to my house. This is Warpportals' house. You come to Warpportals' house. You obey Warpportals' rules. You come to fucking Ragnarok's house. You obey Ragnarok's rules.
That's incorrect too.
Don't come to my house if you don't want to.
If you invite me to your house and then cut me up and eat me, you can still go to jail for that, for murder.
That's not what's happening. When you come to my house, there's a sign that says video surveillance is happening, and we can use you. You know, if you go to a restaurant today, they have signs. There's video surveillance, and we may use you in promotional materials.
Okay.
That's the terms of service. It says that and you have no right to revoke that. Once you're in, you're in.
Whoa, do you think so? Do you think that's gonna from now until infinity? That's the best way to do things. It's called evolution.
Yes,
it's called change.
In areas where there's no harm being done, and you have to prove to me what harm can be done about somebody tracking my poor and killing habits in Ragnarok Online, or me killing fucking.
I was about to get there until you cut it off.
All right, get there. Okay. Come get there.
We are moving
Where's the harm?
into an entirely information digital world. Okay.
Yes.
Now, we need rules and regulations to govern this world. Our current laws are based around basically farming. All our laws today were made around farming, okay? So we're moving into an information world. And yes, I even said small companies like this are in the crossfire. They will have to pay a little bit of money to update their systems to comply with this. But that world we're going into, okay? We'll need a set of rules that we got to lay down now. And I would rather the EU set the rules than China, a company like or America for that matter, where people like you obviously have no respect for anything related to that, information. Okay.
Why can't you let the individual companies set their own rules? If Warpportal wants to make it clear terms of service and say, we're going to do whatever we want with your data, it's the way we work, and we're fine. We're doing this. Too bad, right? And U.S. today, Microsoft has different policies than Facebook. In fact, they even said outright, we don't sell data. We don't do all the shit that Facebook does. That's not the business we're in. That's an inherent flaw in advertising-based businesses.
You have no idea. They're lying. Let's say they're not, but let's presume they're lying and collecting all the same information.
In a marketplace of a competition of ideas, if somebody wants to do some bullshit, they'll get penalized for it in the marketplace. And
no, they won't. Does Xi Jinping get penalized in the marketplace of China for collecting everyone's information?
Well, when the government does it, it's different. They're you can't.
What's the government?
After them.
The biggest company in the country is the government.
No.
What's the difference?
The biggest company on earth, Standard Oil, got destroyed by government. Government is all powerful.
No.
I'm calling the private business.
Sure, it is.
No.
Okay.
The biggest company.
You have the U.S.
fined billions of dollars.
Hold. So in 1776, a couple guys with wigs got together, private British citizens in America. Okay, they said, yeah, fuck the government. And they wrote some bullshit, and now they became the government. Right? So what is the difference?
Yeah, they violently oppose. So unless you're saying there's going to be a violent uprising, that's different. There's a case where maybe Google is going to start arming their employees and overthrow the government. I mean, is that your argument? If we don't have that protection, we're going to have violent uprisings. Like, come on.
If we the people don't put some constraints, then yes.
No, we're getting too far from the original point again here. I don't look. You can maybe apply some of these laws about data privacy to maybe Facebook, where there is potential harm being done. You could argue that you're leaking of information and giving companies access to like your phone numbers that are unintended. There's data breaches, and it can cause real harm.
By the way, there are real harm. No, Warpportal. No, yes, there is. They have your payment information that could leak, right? They store your payment information. They store your email.
Already, yes.
How do you know it's encrypted? They say it's encrypted.
Also, there's already penalties in place for like getting when Target got data breached, they lost access to millions of customer credit card information. Yeah, there's already systems in place. There's already like obviously a problem, right? Just saying passing these laws isn't going to make it stop. But the problem is the unintended effects of these laws. The people that wrote these regulations, they didn't want to put Warpportal out of business in Europe, right? They're depriving customers of access to these games that, this was unintended, clearly.
Well, first of all, they're probably doing them a favor because now they can play on private servers instead of the...
But here's the reality. This is what's going to happen, right? By the way, this law is going to make people in Europe play on private Rose Online or Dragon Saga servers. They're not going to be playing on official servers anyway. So all that happened was instead of a legal entity that owns the game profiting and paying taxes, now it's going to private individuals who run illegal private servers, which I don't think it should be legal, but that's a different argument. Now it is going to the black market. Who is winning by this? Do you think that those private servers have any data protection?
I think the EU citizens are winning, and I hope it's a good example
that
the
EU
world
citizens
follows.
are now giving their data to private servers who have much lax data control, who are more unscrupulous of selling your data. How did they win? Their data is less protected now with this law than it was before.
No.
In the scope of Warpportal, not in the scope of the grand scheme of things.
So what is your so what are we discussing? What are we disagreeing on? Are you saying like Warpportal should get a Warpportal exemption? I don't understand I'm saying this affects all digital companies.
Well, there's two things. Look, I think it's a bad policy to begin with. I think.
Okay, so let's stick to that then. Don't make it about Warpportal then. Like that seems like a red pouring,
They're actually pink, not red. All right. Okay. Come on. Looking at Warpportal lets us see the problem here too, and it's not just Warpportal, by the way. I actually found another website too, an actual just some small business, some websites saying they're basically shutting down. There's an article on, if you go to streetlend.com, there's a website. It looks like you could an easy way to borrow money online or some shit, right, or something, right? And they're saying they're shutting down the website specifically because of GDPR, and they said basically we don't have the resources to hire law firms to make sure we're doing all the right things, even if we want to do the right things. Right? They're saying it's so ambiguous that even if you try doing all the correct things, you can still be held responsible and pay that minimum fine of 20 million euros or 4% of turnover. Which is the biggest problem here, by the way, is that 20 million euros is for some reason the base figure. It should be like maybe like $100 or 4% of global turnover. If that was the case, whichever is higher, like $100 or 4%, that seems like a more reasonable policy because small websites, small businesses can comply with it now. And the risk of non-compliance is not literally everything you have times 100.
Okay, look, I agree that the launch of this law is, think of it like the launch of a brand new MMORPG. All right, the servers will crash. There'll be bugs, right? It'll be frustrating, laggy, right? Events won't work, quests won't work. That's kind of what we're going to get in the first year of this. I know that, okay? But that's a cost that the EU people, it's a democracy still, have chosen to go down, and they're gonna pay the price, okay? And eventually, America might hopefully adopt the patched version of this, right? A couple years down the line, but I do really think that the alternative to this, right, is gonna be the total surveillance state like we have in China. That's if we let WeChat and stuff set the rule.
What's wrong with somebody just giving a gaming company like Warpportal access to tracking where the fuck they want? Who is losing? Where is the damage? That I don't understand.
I think
you can't tell me that. Your argument is that you're not even answering my question. You're pivoting to McDonald's, getting a piece of my saliva and making a clone and robbing a bank. That's not a reasonable answer to my question. Who is being harmed when a kid goes on Warpportal, makes an account, would they give them their country, their username and password and email, and they want to go grind some pourings, and they want to go they want to kill jelly beans and Rose Online.
Okay, they can do that. The only thing is, if that 12-year-old, when he's 20 and he's embarrassed by the time he played Ragnarok, he can go to Warpportal and say, yeah, when I play, delete all the information you have on me.
Why does he have that's nonsense? Why should he have that right anyway? Look, if I film
because adults voted in a parliament to pass that law and to grant that right to its citizens. Why can't I walk into your house and shoot you and take your stuff? Tell me.
The point is, I'm saying it's a bad law, okay? And you're saying that we democratically passed it. If that's your argument, there's no discussion about any issue in the world.
What's the alternative? In America, there's a lot of undemocratic countries like Russia and China which have a different view on citizens' rights. So which of those routes do you want to go down?
The view of citizens' rights in China is radically different because it is undemocratic and it's different. Look, this could have been arrived at in a democratic process. I don't know how democratic the EU legislative body is. I don't think I'm well versed in that. People are saying it's not up to the national governments either. It's an EU directive, not directive. It's an EU regulation, which is basically required all member states to apply it. So national governments can't even if not anymore at least, if Italy doesn't want to enforce this rule, they have no choice, right? So there's the people, let's say the vast majority of politicians and people in Italy disagree with this law. There's nothing they can do because EU Parliament is. So bring this to whole democracy is a non-starter of this discussion.
I will say that I will put it this way.
Okay.
Individual rights Okay, this is at least a part of the world, Europe, right, that still has a history of individual rights, right? Like we will never get this from China. Even if China was democratic, we won't get it.
Sure.
Because they don't have the mentality of individual like history like we do, the West does.
Okay.
So we will never get democratic or undemocratic. Even a European king might have passed a law like this, right, to protect his citizens or his subjects. But a Chinese king or a Chinese parliament will never pass a law like this because they don't. The idea of individuality doesn't exist in those countries the way it does. So I'm glad that this is setting the precedent. It will be imperfect. There will be problems, but it will lead to something hopefully in the future where people aren't just complete slaves.
Okay. No, you bring this as a weird dystopian comparison.
Yeah, yeah.
The problem is the real comparison is if you come to my house and I look at you and I write down what you did in my house. All of a sudden, 20 years later, you want to come down to me and say, delete your notes that you took of me while I was at a dinner party at your house. No, get lost. You have no say, and you should never have a say at what somebody else does with information they've gathered about you. That's reality.
Why?
If it doesn't know, if you can't come to me 20 years later and tell me to rip up my notes.
Okay, what if I can? What if I can? Here's what I'm saying.
But that's not.
What? That's not what?
Why should you be able?
Okay,
to? You don't deceive democracy.
I won't. Okay, because information asymmetry. Okay, is what determines power in this world, especially going forward in the 21st century. Now, a company like Facebook has more information asymmetry, right, relative to individuals like you. Okay, then you can no matter how smart you are, how much you study, how much you go to school, how much you don't do drugs, you will never be able to surpass the asymmetry information. So and therefore, in the long term, you'll end up working for them, not directly like as an employee, but they'll be your overlord in some way. That's why. So you will have to, but if you have the right to any company, any individual, turn around and say, delete what you have on me, delete what you have on me. You can keep my information. At least you have a morsel of something, of property left.
No, if the guy's more intelligent, more capable than you, you'll be working for him regardless. He'll be your using your example, he'll be your overlord regardless. If you want to solve that issue, if that's your fundamental issue you want to solve, I don't see how this addresses that at all.
I just said information.
You're literally putting like a tiny Band-Aid on a rocket launcher wound. No, you're not even addressing the right problem.
Ready? Knowledge is power. Do you agree with that?
Wow. Hashtag deep, boys. Hashtag deep.
So why do we want companies like Facebook to hoard all this power? With no way out, with no way to jettison out of this. Okay. By the way, Facebook can still store everything they want on you. Warpportal can still store what they want. All they're asking for is now the right to be deleted.
Where does this right come from? This right to be deleted. Does that apply anywhere else?
It comes from the same right as all other rights. People.
Good.
Yeah. Okay.
If you just say democracy, there's no discussion.
I mean, you asked me.
In any democratic country in the world.
No, not democracy. Just the government, I guess. Where do you think rights come from? I don't know. God.
But why is there a differentiator between digital rights now and again the right to be forgotten? Why does that apply to Warpportal and Facebook, but what doesn't apply to if you come to my dinner party? Should the government come to my house and brainwash, delete my memories of seeing you? If you demand it,
if it becomes a big
non-starter, if it becomes a non-issue,
if it becomes, you're right, it's a non-issue. That's why it's not an issue.
And you have,
but if listen to me, if it becomes an issue, for example, let's say studies prove that lots of people go to Omar's house for dinner parties, and he's recording everyone's conversations, and he's using it to blackmail them, right? That becomes a huge. Listen, I'm not done. Let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish.
Okay.
That becomes a huge issue in society. It's affecting tens of millions of people. Okay, then you know what? Maybe that should be fixed with the law.
Wait, but now you're saying it does affect millions of people negatively, I assume. Otherwise, there would be an issue. Can you demonstrate that millions of people feel harmed? Because the reality is, I think most people don't care. I use Facebook. I use Warpportal, and I've never given any.
Okay, I agree. Most people don't care. I agree. But I think most people, if you left to their own vices, will literally just be cavemen and then die of malaria. The only light that leads us forward is a few people who care and actually try. Most people just sit around and play games like we do. Like what do you? So I mean, I don't know. What do you expect?
Hold on. My favorite comment so far of this Twitch stream. Chicken Keeper says, "How do I get invited to Rimate's dinner party?"
I know there's a lot of guys in chat. We're just arguing with each other. I couldn't read too much of the chat. There's some guy talking about AI, how to undo this, impossible.
I just don't see the benefit of this, and we've seen already the consequences of it, and how haphazardly it's already been applied, and it's led the Warpportal. Sumarthan.com as one example. There's a website called Streetland. It looks like it was a website that it helped you find local money lenders or something. Like it's basically a Google Maps overlay.
Was that Streetland?
Yes, go to streetlend.com.
Okay.
And he explains what his business was, and he made some money from Amazon affiliates or something.
Do you lend drills? No, you lend each other power tools.
Oh, yeah, whatever. Sure, you lend something to other people. All right.
Okay.
You lend stuff to each other, and there was no fees charged to buyers or sellers, and they only made money from affiliate marketing or something. And then they shut down because they don't know how to apply themselves to this new GDPR.
Okay.
It's already hurt so many, you know. It already hurts so many small companies, and in fact, arguably, it solidifies the power of Facebook, Google, Amazon, because big companies can comply with this. Small companies that don't want to deal with this may never even come to fruition because the cost of compliance is higher.
I already agreed that there's going to be bumpy roads ahead, like until they figure it out. Okay, there will be some casualties, there will be some readjustments, some prices to pay, and hopefully America can adopt the revised version right after they do all the beta testing for us. But someone's got to beta test this stuff. I mean,
I think we'll agree to disagree. I just don't like this. Look, I've not even shown any demonstration there's harm being done.
Can you imagine the power Facebook's gonna have on like our politicians in the future?
Don't give me this dystopian future. If we see some of this happening, fine, then show it to me.
Wait, so you want to wait?
Where is it today?
Wait, so you want to wait till the bomb explodes, right?
You're assuming that there is a bomb and it can explode.
Wait. You haven't
demonstrated there is a bomb.
People our age and younger. How many embarrassing like drunk pictures do they have on floating on Facebook? Not Google. Literally anything you put online is stored somewhere, right? Every drunk picture, every a racist thing you said as a kid, every right?
Good.
No,
but the reality is it's not just stored there. Anyone that's ever seen it, it's been scraped a million times over. It's stored by everybody. By third parties.
No. I don't have that information. Whoa, I don't have that information.
What?
I don't have a picture of Zuckerberg at his college party with like a dick in his mouth, and all right, I don't have that. But you know what? If there's a picture of me like that somewhere, which there isn't, by the way, you can look, but there isn't. Guess what? Who has it? Zuckerberg has it. So why do you?
I think he's really worried because he's got that picture somewhere.
But so why do you want this world where and you saying it's not an issue until literally this guy's got a whole generation or two or three generations of people's history under his belt, okay? And then now we can worry about it, but now we can't worry about it because he has the votes to stop anything.
No, again, I don't think you've demonstrated that there is a problem even, or there potential of a problem. I don't see if you have an embarrassing picture and Facebook can use that to blackmail you. But blackmail is illegal, by the way. That is separate. This entire issue we're talking about.
God.
Yes, the use of the data to blackmail somebody is fundamentally just illegal already. So nothing that we're talking about today has anything to do with that. So just having access to that power. By the way, the way Google and Amazon and Facebook use this data has been typically to like target advertisements and stuff like that, right? That's been the main source.
For now,
okay.
Yes.
Okay, and you have not demonstrated the harm in that. You're only saying that there might be a very harmful thing in the future.
Yeah.
But you could say video gaming itself is a very harmful thing. If we don't just ban video gaming or restrict video gaming access, if we don't do that, 10 years from now, it'll be a dystopian future where everyone's dead.
By the way, yeah, you're right. So we do restrict games. There are games that are for mature people, whatever, right? There are restrictions in place for gaming already. So again, this rule, I'm not banning Facebook. I'm just saying people. I do agree with the EU on this, that the people should have a right to see what's being stored on them, what the conditions are, and if they want to opt out, they can opt out. That's it.
You can already opt out today. Don't sign up. Don't use it.
They scrape it immediately.
All right, disagreeing fundamentally. He's using the word stolen on data. Fundamentally, something cannot be stolen if you are voluntarily handing it over.
That's not true. Imagine you're starving and then someone wants to sign this piece of paper and we get your house for one cheeseburger. There's information asymmetry.
There's intelligence asymmetry and everything.
Okay, well, the laws try to stop it. Try to reduce it at least.
No. Laws don't try to stop information asymmetry because that can't happen. Some people are smarter than other people, and they will access to more information, more mental capacity than other people. Asymmetry is a part of nature.
Okay, and guess what? You know what nature leads us to? Wolves eating gazelles. But humanity doesn't function that way, and because of that, we can go to space with rockets. So what makes us human is our ability to break with natural law. Natural law just leads to wolves and sheep, right? I mean, if that's the world you want, where Zuckerberg is, you're just kissing his feet all day. I mean, if that's the world you want to live in, go ahead. But I don't want to live in that world.
And I was disagree with fundamentally with Exile. If you have a coin worth 5,000, I offer you the face value of the coin at $5. I just stole from you. Exile, I will offer you right now $1 for every $100 you give me. Did I just steal from you?
This seems like a great post game talk. I think we can go on for an hour or two about this in the post game. I'm happy to do that because I think it's a fundamental issue in the 21st century for humanity. But for now, there are games to be played.
Well, not if you're in Europe. You can't be killing Pekka anymore, or you can't kill jelly beans in Rhode Island anymore.
We didn't get a chance to read.
People like Altai
didn't get a chance to read everything you guys said, but leave a comment here or stay around until the post game, and where we can have a much more back and forth with the chat. Okay?
All right, we'll take this in the post game a bit more.
Yeah.
But all right, let's slide this over a little bit. There's another fun, not really fun, an interesting observation. I know last year we talked about Venezuelan Bolivar. Let's keep the whole politics things going.
Oh yeah, I love it.
And World of Warcraft. There's an old article you wrote last year on World of Warcraft, and it's actually, I think, really fascinating. I'm gonna drop the link in chat if you want to see it. Let me send that to you as well. So basically, you wrote that World of Warcraft gold is now worth more than the Venezuelan currency, and this was during their hyperinflation crisis, which is actually still ongoing. So I decided to revisit this today. If you scroll down, I put an update as of May 1st, 2018. Back when you first wrote this article, it was basically one piece of gold in World of Warcraft was worth more than one Venezuelan bolivar. It was $1 was equal to 8,493 bolivars, and that number has since exploded. $1 is now equal to 621,000.
Oh
bolivars.
My God!
So it's actually gotten 60 times worse. So 10,000 gold is equal to $1 today. So one gold in World of Warcraft, and this is using the token price of gold, which is $20. And it costs about like 20,000 gold in the US servers to buy one token. So one gold in World of Warcraft is now equal to 62 bolivars. So minimum wage in Venezuela is now 1 million bolivars per month, or 16,000 gold. If you have 60,000 gold in World of Warcraft, which is less than the price of one token, it's more than the minimum wage in Venezuela for an entire month. So the situation has gotten so much worse there.
That is, and there was actually a beautiful Bloomberg article about Venezuela. This was also a few months ago, so it's probably already outdated. But one of the most lucrative jobs, like there's a guy who was an engineer, okay? And he, instead of working his engineering job, he was at home playing Tibia. He was farming gold in Tibia manually, and he was selling it to American players. And the US dollars he was getting for pay was better than any job he could work in Venezuela. Isn't that crazy? It's nuts. And this is actually the reason I brought this up again is that I linked you another post. It's on Reddit. This reminded me of it today. It's a Reddit post on RMRPG. And this guy says, is there any way to make money through gaming? Hello, I'm looking for a game which I can spend the whole day to earn some real money. In the last years, the currency of my country has lost its value so fast that earning even a little amount of money as dollars or euros would be enough for me for my education. I don't have a job. I'm a student. So this guy clearly probably lives in Venezuela, if I had to guess. And this is the country, this is probably the only country on earth right now that's experiencing this level of crazy hyperinflation. So this guy's actually he wants to find a game where he can just literally grind, make some in-game currency, and sell it to feed his family or to go to school. So it's pretty crazy. And I know the original Bloomberg article, which maybe we should link later. I think you looked at maybe in the article itself. And there was actually a quote from a family just basically saying, like, I used to think like this guy's wife was like, I used to think he was wasting all this time, but now, like, you know, I realized him playing Tibia is actually feeding our family. And how, like, every time the guy was complaining that every time his account gets banned, like, it would actually hurt his family's ability to eat. So like, yeah. I pulled up the picture. Just how funny does this picture look? I know it's sad, but this guy sitting here playing Tibia on a CRT monitor in this dimly lit room, and he's earning money for his whole family.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. But yeah, you can make more money playing, it looks like, Tibia than working in some parts of Venezuela. MMO economies, guys. MMO economies are serious business. There's a lot of, you'd be surprised how much money moves throughout these games. Like, it's kind of, I'm curious what the total value of the RMT business is across all MMORPGs. Whether it's, WoW, Final Fantasy 14, all these games put together. I'm willing to bet we're talking like billions of dollars. Or is that too high, you think? I think it's over $1 billion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Of all the RMT, which is crazy because I think the actual MMORPG market is, like, I'm curious how much, like, let's say, like, World of Warcraft makes like $670 million a year. How much money do you think is made on the third-party marketplace of buying and selling World of Warcraft gold? Like, what is the total revenue generated by all those Chinese gold sellers? I wish we could look that up because I'm curious. Like, I think it'd be a remarkably big chunk of all the money that WoW makes is made through ancillary companies that just partake in this trade.
I think it's big, and it kind of proves my it doesn't prove, but it kind of I back it up with my conspiracy that a lot of these free-to-play game launches on day one, even if they're early access buy-to-play games, they have gold spammers, and I think it's because the publishers are in cahoots with the sites that sell gold, and they just get a cut, and because that cut they get is a big percentage of their total revenue from that game.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy.
I do remember reading about RMT during the EverQuest days. EverQuest 1, Dark Age of Camelot, and the people running those games would say that the RMTers made more money off their game than they did. So there was more
that's crazy.
There was more being spent on RMT than the $15 a month subscription, which is one of the reasons
why. That's why
subscriptions
free to play and pay to win. You know,
exactly, because it didn't make sense for a company to only get $15 per user per month when that same user was ready and willing and spending a lot more than $15 a month on the game through RMT. So
perhaps that's like the justification for pay to win. You know, I feel like maybe people should try looking at it from that lens. Obviously, you know, we players kind of hate that, and it really hurts our view of fairness in the game.
Oh, definitely. Like, what do you say to a player? He's ready and willing to spend $1,000 a month on that game, and if you only take $15 from him, that's fine. He'll pay you your $15, but he'll take his other $985 and he'll spend it on RMT. Bots or something, gold.
You can never eliminate pay to win, which is why over time I've given some pass to some of the pay to win stuff. Some pass. Obviously, I still don't like it. If a game goes too far in pay to win, I'm not going to play it. I would dissuade others from playing it. But like you said, Altai, if somebody's willing to pay $1,000 a month, if you're the game company, if you're Arcade, right? You're Arcade, and if you don't take that money, like if you don't sell overpowered weapons in the cash app, if you don't do that. The reality is that guy who's willing to pay that money, he's going to pay somebody else to log into his account, whether it's somebody overseas or somebody, domestically, to log into his account and literally pay to get that stuff for him anyway. In Final Fantasy 14, if you go to the Party Finder at any time, there's at least 3 people. Oh, I appreciate this wacko, 11 months in a row. Hell yeah, thanks, fam.
One more month to go.
Literally at any point in Final Fantasy 14, you go to the Party Finder, there's at least 2 people advertising that they're selling runs. What that means is you can pay, and they say, contact us on Discord because they don't want to discuss RMT in game. There's a Discord. You can contact them. You can pay them US dollars, and they'll get you any weapon in the game, any clear in the game, any mount in the game, literally anything in the game for like $500. If you want to do, I think that's like
$500. You should do that.
I should, yeah. But the problem is you need like 7 other willing people. You got to split with them because it's an 8-man run, right?
Yeah.
And then, if you have customers lined up all the time, it's really good money. But they charge like $400 to like $800, depending on who you go to and stuff like that. But like, somebody is willing to provide that service, and it's kind of weird because, like, it's really bizarre. Because let's talk about Final Fantasy 14 for a second, because I like the game a lot, and I think Square Enix, they deserve the $15 a month I'm paying them. Otherwise, I wouldn't be paying it. But if Square Enix directly sold Unending Coil of Bahamut clears, or God Kefka clears, or any raid clears, right? If they sold it in the game's MOG station, people would be up in arms like crazy. It'd be all over the front page of games, every gaming publication in the world, right? That this big game is one pay to win. But the reality is all that stuff exists in the game today, and not only does it exist, it's being advertised in plain view that you can pay US dollars to get any clear in the game, any content in the game, and some other schmuck is getting the money instead. I'd rather Square Enix get that money, and they can use that money to make more content in the game that I like, than them schmuck who's profiting off of it. It's bizarre. This double standard.
You think that they would ban you just for advertising?
Nope, they don't.
Why?
Because there's a loophole that they use.
Oh, what is that?
The loophole that they use is they don't say they're taking US dollars, right? They're saying contact me, right? They're saying just contact me. And if they have a question, they'll say, we're doing it for in-game currency. You can pay me 500 million gil, or 300 million gil, or you can pay me $700, whichever one you want.
Oh, that makes sense. That's smart.
And of course, they get the gil. Some people probably will pay in-game currency. If they get the game, they can just sell that for dollars anyway.
Yeah.
There's a very quick exchange ratio with the wholesalers. So, but almost every person in this chat, I am convinced, will be up in arms if Square Enix sold the best in stock content in the game's cash shop. But that already exists. So given the two choices we have, where all the best in stock stuff is available in game for US dollars through third-party sellers, like, why shouldn't Square Enix be able to monetize that? I'm kind of struggling this with myself too, because I'd be pissed off too, right? But the more I look at this critically and objectively, it just seems like that's the only logical way you have to go. And this is why games have gotten more pay to win over time. And I've kind of taken back my outrage a little bit, because the reality is they've always been pay to win.
It's funny. Yeah. It's kind of sad too. I feel like Maybe MMORPGs can't exist in this world if we have it set up this way. Like, we need like a hard system to keep real money out of the game somehow. Like,
yeah, if you could, I agree, that's perfect. If you get an ideal scenario where you can keep real money out of it, right? That's fine. It's all feelings of perception. None of it is new. Money will buy you advantage. Yeah, but fear, that's the thing. Like, if we can recognize that it's about perception, we have to kind of realize that now we have to decide: do we want the game company to benefit, or do we want third-party sellers and Chinese gold farmers and exploiters to benefit? Like, if I had to choose between those two, it's obvious what the choice is. I would rather the game company benefit because at least they make this product. They spent millions making this product already, and all the stuff is already accessible. It just seems crazy to be super upset at the game companies, even though I'm irrational too. I will get upset just as much as anybody else if they go too pay to win. But they've always been pay to win. Like, how do you? Can you design a system where you can make it like infallible to like pay to win? Like, how do you keep real money out of MMORPGs? How do you keep real money out of games to make it actually fair? Like, is there any way to actually do it, you think?
I think a good place to start, I would think, is not have instance dungeons. Just have world bosses with a steady spawn rate, so you control the drip into the world of new items and equipment and gold. Because if it's instance, right, they can presumably run that 1 trillion times a day, right? There's no limit.
No, you put limitation on rewards and stuff too. But what you're saying doesn't stop anyone from farming that content or trading it to you for real life dollars.
Well, imagine like
even without trading systems, you can still exploit it by logging into your account.
Well, no, you can control that too.
How?
Have it tied to your IP. Have it tied to your address. So if someone in Venezuela logs into my account because I paid him to farm for me,
whoa! No, that sounds good on paper, but you realize you can just have a VPN on your local connection, and he just logs in from there, and he plays on your account until he gets whatever you paid for. That doesn't even come close to solving the problem, because then it looks like your IP is logging in and playing. But the reality is you paid some guy to play for you.
I would argue that some kind of IP, you know how we have two-factor authentication? Some kind of IP authentication would cut it down, and like it'd be like a filter that cuts down like 80% of it.
But no, the whole purpose of two-factor authentication is to stop unauthorized access. The reality is this is authorized access. Well, you wanted to play on your account, you're paying him.
Well, it's unauthorized because
how do you stop that?
Because the $15 a month you're paying. The terms of service will say it authorizes you, the named individual, to access it.
How does a company enforce that? If you're willing to allow it to access your IP through a VPN,
yes.
The moment
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. How do you stop it?
Netflix currently bans VPN use. There are many ways around this, but I would bet you 90% of people don't know the way around it. We do. Omar and I, in Turkey, I can watch American Netflix because I'm not retarded. I know how to use a computer, but most people don't know how to use a computer.
What Netflix does is they ban all the public VPNs that are known to them, right? But the problem is when you set up a tunneling system through your own computer.
Well, most people don't know how to do this. So it would help. It's not perfect. I'm just saying it's a good step.
But you would think if it would help, but there are still literally people advertising gold selling in World of Warcraft, the Valorant 14, and in Shout Chat. The problem is still there. Like the gold spamming stuff is still there, no matter what. And this seems like the easiest thing to stop, but it's not stopped. So as long as the advertising is in game, they'll put up a guide on how to set this up for you if you buy their goods. And if the game tries to crack down on it, the guides will be on the websites that are advertising in game already. It just seems like it's impossible to design a system where you can keep money out of it.
It's impossible, but it doesn't mean you should stop striving. We got to strive. We got to move towards perfection, and we're never going to get there. But it doesn't mean we give up. We got to keep going in that direction. That's all I'm saying.
Berman, it's not that people don't RMT. I agree. A lot of people don't RMT, right? But the problem is, let's say EverQuest, World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14, any game, they sold a really high-end weapon in the game's most difficult content for $1,000, right? Like if they sold that today, most people would not buy it. 99% of people would not buy that item, right? But just like most people, at EverQuest didn't RMT. There are people that did, and money could always buy power. And what we're arguing is how do we stop that? If we can, and if we can't stop it, shouldn't we let the companies profit off of it rather than the third-party vendors? Is what I think is our discussion. Because even though most people don't do it, people are still going to do it. And how do we absolutely stop it? Is it even possible to absolutely stop it? If it's not possible to stop it, why are we fighting this infinitely losing battle?
But we gotta fight it. That's why. I mean,
Illuminati deal it, but that's not true. I think BDO did have an interesting system where there's no player direct trading, which I think negatively impacts the actual gameplay experience. I think one of the an MMO is supposed to be this world, and in world that you can't trade is kind of weird. But I get why they did it, right? But you can buy silver in BDO today. To search Google, what they do is they log into your account for you, and they will farm the silver for you while you're offline. So yes, they stop the trading at a major inconvenience to most players because most people would not be participating in the crazy RMT anyway, right? So they harassed a huge portion of the player base by restricting that feature, and they still sell silver. They still sell everything you want in the game. Just they log into your account and do it for you, without trading.
But there are
By the
so
way,
many.
Elrond, I would probably support that position.
Well, would you agree though that, for example, the Netflix thing really did cut down on foreigners using the American service or whatever, or vice versa? Like, right?
Sure, but
So-
here's the problem with Netflix, though. Here's the problem with Netflix. You can't advertise on Netflix about your VPN service, right? In World of Warcraft, any gold seller can always go into the game and spam, go to my gold selling website, buy the shit, right? And
Okay.
you're directly reaching your customers anyway.
Okay. Let's say I want someone to do a run for me in Final Fantasy, okay? And
Okay,
they,
alright.
and I PM them on Discord. And let's say they implemented my system with like the IP check.
Yeah.
And the guy gives me all this workaround. Go to your registry, do this,
No,
download,
program does it for you.
download
Make it
this.
easy.
Okay, download all this stuff.
No, Windows makes it. Windows is a built-in VPN tool. You don't do anything
This
special.
stuff
Windows
is-
is built-in.
Every step that gets in the way is going to
Also-
make the guy say, "I don't want to do this. Like, this is too much." Like,
The moment you do that, though, the moment you even start putting these IP restrictions, you already kind of destroy. You already piss off your player base because a lot of people don't have static IPs; they have dynamic IPs. So every X days, your IP resets. So do these people just can't play their account unless they contact support? So your solution to minimize is already is not.
You can do you can do a hardware check as well. Some kind of hardware verification.
Elrond, this is what you just said. Has nothing to do with what we're talking about. One is voluntary, one is involuntary. There's a key distinction over there. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like a very pay to win is always there. I don't like it. I want to have a system that's fair. And in a world where it's so, the thing is, like, if what you're saying was it got to a point where most people didn't do it, that's fine. But I don't think we're even close to that, though. The reality is, every time I log into Final Fantasy 14, I go to the party finder, I see people buying, this guy advertising he's selling runs for US dollars. The perception of fairness is already gone. It's really no different, almost, if Square is sold directly. Because this guy's selling directly in the party finder, everyone can see his advertisements. It just seems like we're not even at the point where it's become so hard. It's literally in our face every day already that people are buying advantages.
I agree, and I think they should do more to mask it, even if it doesn't get rid of it totally. But I think, unfortunately, the easier route is to just make your shitty pay-to-win mobile games, which is where where the whole industry seems to be moving. And I want to bring up this. We can keep talking about Final Fantasy 14 if you're not done with the topic, but I do want to bring this up. So this came out today. A new Zoo report says mobile gaming revenue is now over 50% of the global gaming revenue market.
Wow.
So it's the first time it's over. It's 51%. And here's a little graphs here for you guys. PC gaming is at 24%. Console gaming is at 25%. And then everything else is mobile, 51%. So are you surprised by this? Do you think it's going to go higher? What do you think?
I think it's going to go quite a bit higher. And one of the reasons being, all this blowback against loot boxes and against pay to win on PC games is going to drive, we talked a bit about this last week, it's going to drive more and more development towards mobile games, where the stigma just isn't there. It's just weird because the default perceptions, these games are already unfair. There was never a sense of fairness in mobile games. They were always pay to win. They were always bullshit. And there's no anchoring to any sense of fairness or justice in mobile games. And that's going to take PC game developers who just aren't making as much money are just going to, why are they spending all this time and effort making these games that we on the podcast here enjoy, and most of the viewers here are PC gamers probably, they enjoy. Why deal with the blowback from that bullshit? And they're going to go more and more towards mobile games, which is unfortunate because the amount of unfairness in mobile games is through the roof.
It is funny that we're getting so much, I guess, pushback from the PC gamers. They make up 24% of this pie here, when 51% of this pie is total pay to win, like you said. So we'll see. We'll see. But so what do you think by 2021? What do you think mobile share will be?
2021.
It's only 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
So we're at 51% already.
Yeah.
I think we'll get to 60%.
Yeah, about right. They predict 59%. New Zoo here.
It's going to go more and more. And give it like 15, 20 years, I think it's going to go like 80%.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I'm a little bit more, I'm looking at this issue a bit more pragmatically, I think. Because because there was such an outcry over the Final Fantasy 14 companion app we talked about, I think, 3 weeks ago, right? Where they're selling a premium subscription and they're selling microtransactions that like give you better access to the game's market board through the app, right? There's so much blowback against that. And what they're doing there is so tame in relation to what's been going on in the mobile game market forever. Like, if there's so much blowback there, and when a company's ability to monetize their game just decreases so much, and I know it's going to lead them down the alley of just completely embracing mobile games, and they're not going to want to deal with PC games. Like, I want to throw them a bone to a degree, but I still feel everybody when they think it feels wrong that you can pay for these like extra advantages and stuff. I get that it feels wrong, but the reality we have to look at that in relation to everything else, right? And I think mobile gaming is the other side of that coin. You know, we have to look at like if we don't give them something here, it's going to end up disgusting like mobile games. And it puts us in a really bad position because obviously I don't want PC games to look like mobile games. I don't want that. That's like the anathema of what I want. But if we don't give them something, it's going to be even worse because the transition will be even faster to the bullshit.
That's an interesting perspective. And I wonder how many purists there are out there and how many people like you that are willing to compromise. So, for example, to rephrase what you just said, if the entire gaming market was a PC market, right? There was no mobile gaming, right? No console gaming, just for this scenario. We could fight back against loot boxes, right? And it's a victory if they pull the loot boxes away. But in a world where everything is going mobile anyway, where it's total pay to win, what leverage do we have against these companies? If we push back too hard, if we don't buy their games, if we don't buy their games, are they going to make better games, or are they just going to say fuck that and just make mobile games, right? That's basically what you're saying. So who has the power here? Is it the PC game makers, or is it the players? I don't know. I feel like we're losing leverage though.
I think we're definitely losing leverage, and I think it's because so many people already gave ground on mobile games. It just like it just seems that people were just so this idea of fairness that we've all come to get used to with Ultima Online, with EverQuest, with World of Warcraft. Like, I think the developers thought that the players would be really mad if it wasn't fair, right? But I think developers are realizing that people never actually cared about fairness to begin with, which is unfortunate because a lot of us do care about fairness. But as we've already seen with mobile games, people don't actually seem to care about it.
Yeah, I agree. People just don't care. Also, people, not just fairness, but people have very price insensitive in the moments they're addicted. And that's a word you don't like, I don't think, about gaming. But there are moments in Dota, right? Or when I was playing Dota or whatever, where at that moment, if it was easy for me to pay 100, 200, 500, I would have paid. But now, a month later, when that kind of lull passed, right, I wouldn't do that. So I think these mobile games are really good at latching onto people, getting them maximally addicted, and in that short, brief time, just sucking hundreds or thousands from them, and then eventually those guys just go, what was I doing? And they uninstall that game. But then they move on to the next one. Like then the next parasite leeches onto them. I don't know.
Somebody mentioned in-app revenue versus advertising. Again, ZenExile is still talking about data. I looked at the chart about revenue breakdowns for some of these games. I think most mobile games don't make money from in-app revenue versus ads. Yeah.
We can return to the data stuff in the post game. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, fair. It just I do think we need pushback against like the most extreme stuff, but we gotta give them some game companies. We gotta throw them some bones, especially with how PC games are. The pie for PC gaming is already shrinking, right? So we gotta give them some bone, but we should still push back against the more ridiculous stuff.
Yeah. Quick aside, guys. 2 weeks ago, I did a podcast. We briefly mentioned Dota 2, like not even like a major, right? But that podcast got a lot of dislikes, and it's so funny. People took offense in the Dota community to our comments about a few of the holdover features from Dota 1. So, for example, the bottle refilling. If you come back from the fountain and somebody who's already middle drops his bottle, you TP into the middle and you pick up the bottle, it fills up because your aura is still ticking from the fountain. And we said something that was stupid, and they really took offense to that. And I am, baffled by some of their comments. What possesses somebody to be this defensive about a video game anymore? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. I don't, because look, I play League, I've played Dota. I actually enjoy watching Dota a lot more because the skill cap is higher. I recognize both games have pros and cons. In fact, if anything, right now I'm probably tilted more towards enjoying Dota more because I haven't played League in a long time now. But it's just weird because a lot of hardcore Dota fans and hardcore League fans, and I feel like gamers in general, they cannot see the flaws in their own favorite game. Yeah, which is bizarre. And I think it comes with age as well. I think when we were younger, for example, we kind of like always thought like, oh, Xbox was for faggots. I mean, that was a view I held in middle school, right? If you had an Xbox, you were just gay, right? It's just like we were so like attached to what we liked, right? Everyone. I feel like everyone was kind of like that, right? But when you get older, I feel like you kind of realize that these games and products don't need loyalty to you. So I think you have a more objective look at what's going on as you get older. I realize League has flaws, a lot of flaws, by the way, arguably more flaws than Dota. But some of the flaws in Dota are just so weird and just bizarre that I just, it's so hard to see people defending like some of the weird mechanics in Dota 2. When the game as a whole has a lot of amazing mechanics that make it, stand apart. Stuff like what makes Dota an amazing game is the higher skill cap that's achieved through really good design. With the way mobility is designed in Dota 2 is amazing. There's actually a lot of mobility on a big map, which creates more action. I watched the game of Dota 2 yesterday. In the first 8 minutes, there was 16 kills in 8 minutes.
Yeah, in League, that's like a full match.
No, in a League of Legends, you can bet in most games, right? And one of the bets you can make in a pro league game on third-party betting websites is over/under bets, and it's over/under 12.5. So you can bet in the entire duration of a match, will there be more than 12.5 kills or less than 12.5 kills for the entire duration of the map? Because I guess that's right around the even point, where on average like 12 kills for an entire game. In Dota, in the first 8 minutes, we had 16 kills. The amount of action is just so much more because of more mobility and because vision is a limited resource. Whereas if in League of Legends, vision is everywhere. The map is tiny and there's vision everywhere. Basically, you almost always know where everybody else is because the map is so small and there's infinite wards you can place. So there's a lot of great mechanics in Dota 2. Like, it's so obvious. Like, these things are so obvious to me that these are just really good design mechanics. But there's other things that are just not so great. Like the example with the bottle mechanic. It just doesn't add anything to the game in an interesting way. And arguably, the way stacking works for jungle stacking it adds a monotonous thing to the game that doesn't really make the game more interesting or engaging. But I don't know. People can't seem to see it.
No, I won't name the guy, but this was one comment that I especially appreciated. So he wanted some like figures on why I thought like it was going down, declining, right? So here's Super Data's post about it. 7.0 update. You can see very clearly here it spiked because people tried it, the new update, right? And then they dropped off. Right? Very, it's nice you can read this post, guys. Very interesting post. But this guy had a different take on it. Here's what's his take on it. I don't know if you guys can read this, but additionally, Super Data Research is angel-funded private company. Who are they backed by? Well, given this is the third negative blog article I've seen from them about Dota, among a sea of positive stories about League of Legends, I don't know, dude. Wonder who? He thinks these guys, it's a conspiracy. These guys are funded by Tencent or League to trash on Dota through 3 vague, very nitty-gritty blog posts about numbers and that stats. Because that's what the average like 12-year-old who plays these games, he's like, let me go to Super Data Research, which is a gaming analytics company, and see charts and analyze. Oh, really? I'm going to go play League now because of this chart. Come on. This guy is living in a cuckoo world that he's concocted for himself. Yeah, he's delusional.
There's another guy who I actually replied to, and he seemed to like not trust League's numbers, right? Like they're owned by the Chinese, right? When the CEO, Brendan Beck, when he says they have 100 million active users, can we really trust him? And which is really bizarre because I'm like, wait a minute, like, we're looking at Super Data Research, which is their own analytics, right? And we also have first-party sources. Dota 2 reports their own numbers through Steam, right? They tell you how many active players there are. And the self-reported numbers by League of Legends, yes, they're not as frequent, right? They mention them in interviews. They don't actively give you a number. But I don't understand why you trust one first-party source but not the other one. Like, they could both be lying. Like, the code for Steam charts or Steam data could just be like, Dota 2 add plus 100,000. Like, they could just bullshit everything if they wanted to. Both parties could just be lying about data. So we have to take them to face value and work with what we have. So I don't know. It just the conspiracy-minded people, a lot of conspiracy-minded thoughts behind our, I love Dota 2. I like League of Legends, but both games have their own faults.
All right, good times. Okay, someone in chat has been posting this a little bit, and it is an interesting story, so I will bring it up. We did cover it briefly on the site. So Daybreak Games, like we said, is having some issues. They were presumably owned by Columbus Nova.
Columbus Nova.
Yeah, which is a Russian company. And then the owner of that was on a sanctions list. So now they fired 70 people. They're kind of scrambling. They're kind of bullshitting, saying, no, just kidding. They never owned us. It's some other guy owned us. And now there are rumors. The company is either going to be sold off or broken apart. There's the one rumor floating around is actually the creation guy, Sharif, right? He might buy Daybreak.
That's pretty crazy. That's the thing that seems like kind of out there. Like, I mean, if he could raise the money, it could happen. He's independently wealthy, and he's he might. Who knows? It'd be pretty crazy if he buys Daybreak. Then that gives a lot more credit to him and his studio, and all of a sudden they're gonna be very legit if that actually happens.
Yeah, and already a lot of the people who work on Ashley Creation with him are ex SOE guys.
Daybreak people.
Yeah, Daybreak guys. So that there is some connection there. There's some cross
I think
pollination.
somebody's going to buy Daybreak. I don't think it's going to be him if I had to guess. I think some other company's going to buy it, and that's going to be interesting when we find out who it is, because how much Daybreak sells for, I think, is a pretty good indication of where the MMO market is to a degree. I mean, Daybreak isn't exactly like the premier of the premier, right? But they're still a pretty big player. Like outside of World of Warcraft, EVE Online, Final Fantasy 14, outside of Elder Scrolls Online, outside of these 5 marquee games, I mean, Daybreak is like right in the middle there. Like they represent a big chunk of the MMO market. So how much they sell for would give us an insight into the health, I think, of the PC MMO market.
Yeah. Apparently, I read Sharif's post. Yeah, I read this on Reddit earlier. Okay, so basically, he's saying he doesn't comment on rumors, but if it were to happen, it'd be wonderful, and we take good care of them. Like, come on. I mean, I don't know.
I think we don't comment on rumors, but we're going to comment on the rumor. I feel like it kind of defeats the purpose of saying we don't comment on rumors, right? I don't know. It's kind of silly. But it's going to make him very credible in the industry. And I would definitely, if this ends up happening, because if this happens, it means he's got a lot of pull with investors that are willing to give him money to buy the studio, right? It would make him instantly way more credible because he convinced these other rich people to back him. So that kind of gives him.
Well, we don't know what the price is. Maybe he's self-funding it. If depending on the price, we don't know.
Still, if he's got that kind of money,
yeah.
I can respect it.
I don't know how much juice he sold, so who knows how much.
Yeah, that's true. We don't know how much juice he sold.
Yeah, but like you said earlier, I wonder what the valuation will be if whoever buys it. I'm actually really curious about that.
Actually, I think at MMOs.com and Master had a good article about. There was a post on, I think, Reddit. A Reddit user was a former Daybreak employee. He said they're working on EverQuest 3 and PlanetSide 3. Both games are already in development. That's pretty hype, actually.
I mean, how far along development though? Who knows? We don't know. And also, Just Survive might shut down, which is not surprising. That game is like no one playing it. Have you seen the stats for this one?
Which one?
Just Survive.
Oh, the survival mode.
This is their worst performing game. Let's see. Okay, it's got 500 people on right now, which is more than I thought it would.
Everyone's playing. Everyone's all about the Battle Royale. That's why.
Yeah. Even their Battle Royale is not doing great. Let's see. H1Z1.
They held a big tournament recently in Las Vegas, actually.
Yeah.
Big H1Z1 tournament with pretty big prize pool, and it went free to play as well. So I bet there's a good amount of people online.
Look, 3,000 people online playing right now. Look at the sea of red in the past like 6 months.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty bad. The problem is it's not even just like H1Z1's bad game. The problem is just Fortnite is dominating. It has such a network effect to have literally everyone playing it and talking about it. It's sucking in everyone. And I think even PUBG is losing players, I think, to Fortnite.
Did you see, speaking of that, did you see SuperData's numbers? Let me find this. SuperData put up numbers, the top 10 PC games, mobile games, console games. And for the first time in years, League of Legends is not number 1 anymore. As a top PC game.
It's pretty crazy. It's DFO, baby.
Yep.
DFO took number 1 spot. It's got to be some kind of like holiday sale in China or something that impacted that. Who knows?
There was a sale. That's true. And Dungeon Fighter Online is the number 1 grossing PC game in March.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, League is number 2. Then 3 and 4 are 2 more Chinese games, and then 5 is Fortnite. And I think Fortnite will keep climbing.
Fortnite is number 1 on console as well, and we're going to see it, I think, up to number 1 on mobile, like in the top 5 in mobile next month as well. Because the mobile side of that chart you're looking at, it doesn't quite include all the data yet, because I think it launched later in March or something, or later in April. So, because if you look at the game right now, and like there are sites like App Annie, they track how much money these mobile games make in every market, China, US, whatever. I think right now Fortnite is the highest grossing app in America. The highest grossing one. After Fortnite, it's Netflix, then Pandora, then YouTube, then Tinder. And Fortnite is the highest grossing app on the iOS store. And that's going to be reflected on this chart, I think, next month.
I think so. Okay, so guys, I want some numbers typed out before I scroll down. How much? Actually, maybe you saw it already. How much money did Fortnite make in March? Okay, across all platforms, so iOS, PC, and PlayStation 4. What is the total revenue in March? I want some numbers typed out. Let's see if you can get close. Oh, okay. Well, you already saw the numbers. $223 million. Isn't that insane? if it can keep that pace for the year, it'll pass everything.
Yeah. If you can piece it, that'd be over $2.4 billion a year. But I think it's going to go up even higher, actually, because the Chinese release didn't happen yet. Yeah. And what's remarkable is there's something about Fortnite where I have friends that spend a lot of money on Fortnite, a surprising amount of money on Fortnite. Like every time the new costume is released, like people are eager to buy it. They're doing something right. And I think what's remarkable is the success of Fortnite's cash shop. It kind of shows users that you don't have to go with the loot box model, right?
Well, that's true.
Because there are no loot boxes in Fortnite. You're just buying things outright. And it works. People are buying entire outfits in Fortnite and they're not cheap. There's like $15, $20 costumes in Fortnite.
More than that, too, 25. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not always about this gambling mechanic. The gambling way may not even be the best way to do it. Though I would argue if they did a loot box, they'd probably make even more money. But I think that they're not doing loot boxes to like be different, to have a better perception for consumers.
It's so interesting that, like, guys, by the way, the reason you're not seeing Fortnite on mobile on this chart is this is March. It's always like 2 months behind. So you will have to wait till next month to see how it does on mobile for April.
And actually, the success of Fortnite, I think, is definitely a big win for what we view as fair games. Because somebody did say there's no loot box and it's not pay to win at all. So maybe there is hope for non-pay to win. But it just seems like the way comparing MMOs and more PGs to a game like Fortnite isn't exactly fair, because you can always pay for power discreetly in games like WoW and Final Fantasy 14. So the incentive structure is a bit different than a game like Fortnite. But it's still a big win, I think, for fairness as a whole, because it's a mobile game as well and it's not pay to win at all. There's still a big win there.
I think what's beautiful about Fortnite is how quickly you can make a game that gets this big. Because remember, Fortnite, the actual game, right, was this whole survival team defense thing. And I think from when they decided to make the Battle Royale to when it came out was probably less than a year, right? Well under a year. That pivot. So that is surprising how quickly you can make a game that kind of takes the world by storm.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Somebody mentioned in the chat that Harry Potter was the #1 game. Harry Potter is the most downloaded game on iOS right now. However, it is not the highest grossing. Take a look at the chart. I linked it on Twitch chat. You can see these are the most popular downloads, and then grossing is the important number for the game that's making the most money right now. The app that's making the most money. Number 5 on that list is pretty surprising. It's a Chinese game with a very Chinese title. I don't even know what game that is.
It's a Lu Zhao. Oh no, that's a developer. That's a developer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What is this Harry Potter Hogwarts mystery game? I've actually never heard of that. How do we call ourselves gaming journalists? We know what that is.
All I know about it is there's some kind of choking controversy. Like there's a kid getting choked, and you can like stop him from getting choked if you pay money or something.
That's actually hilarious. I just googled the game, and that's the first headline I see.
Yeah, right.
Harry Potter Hogwarts mystery force you to pay.
Link me.
Save a kid from being strangled. All right, fine. It's on Eurogamer. The headline is hilarious. I'm dropping in Twitch chat actually.
Yeah, sure. There. Yeah.
That's actually a really funny. That's a really funny headline. Holy crap!
Just pay, or else this kid gets choked. All right. I want to see the choking. Oh, here we go. That's a pretty lame choking going on. Some vines. Some hentai shit going on.
Oh baby, hot.
All right, back to Super Data. Any other interesting stats here? Let's see.
We should get some interesting stats in the next 2 weeks, because I think May 10th or so, we'll get data from Nexon releasing their earnings report. We'll get NCSoft releasing their data. And I think last time we talked about NCSoft data, it was pretty crazy just how much money mobile was making for NCSoft, and we'll see how that trend continues. And we'll get some numbers from Nexon as well. But again, I am most hype for MapleStory 2. That closed beta test on May 9th. Ooh, I'm already in. They got you in. It's gonna be spicy.
So we can probably play that before or after the podcast next week.
Yeah. Should be fun. We'll stream playing that together.
Sounds good. All right, one more thing.
Play as a wizard.
I want to get to before we are out of time. We got another Kickstarter game this week.
Oh baby.
Yeah.
Which one is this? I haven't heard of it actually, because I don't know what you're talking about.
You're in luck. You can watch this together.
Hell yeah. Let's see it.
All right, it's called Last Epoch.
That logo is killing me.
I'm bad at picking banners, but this is basically another action RPG. Look, it's inspired very heavily by Path of Exile, as you can tell by this video being played. And Diablo, all that jazz.
Is it going to be an MMORPG, or is it going to be more like a single player game? Like, what's their spiel?
It's probably a lot like Diablo and Path of Exile. They're going to have an offline mode too, so single player mode or online mode where you play online. with hub world. In the hub towns, you can see lots of people, but outside the hub town, you can party with up to 5 people. And
there's already a free downloadable demo. That's
yes,
actually mega
yes.
legit.
This Kickstarter came out a few days ago, and already and obviously they didn't do this bullshit where they're pitching you nothing, where they say we want to make an action RPG, please give us money. They're basically, look, here's a playable demo. We got the videos. They worked on the game for over a year already. Okay, so they got a game, they got something that works, and they want to. There's actually a pretty good schedule on when they want the game released. Let me see if I can find it. By 2020, they want the full game released, but way before that, you can play, closed betas, open betas, and all that jazz.
The fact that you can just download and play this already, and it looks like there's some substance here. They already have some skill systems built in. The way the item works is built into the game. This is how you do a respectable Kickstarter. All right, I'm already like, listen, these are the kind of Kickstarter projects I can already safely say, look. Don't feel like you're gambling when you back something like this, because you can already see something. There's some tangible evidence.
Well,
here.
you can try it before you pitch.
Yeah.
Just try the single player.
I am not skeptical. I usually always say I remain skeptical about Kickstarter games. This is something I'm already not skeptical about already. They can already demonstrate very clearly what they have. This should be a blueprint for other games, especially. This is like 10 times as true for someone that promises the world with an MMORPG. Like the other game, Fracture, was like they were trying to, like, this already is more impressive than what we saw in Fracture, right? The game looks like there's something there, but they're not promising this entire world that can support thousands of players with spatial OS. They're not promising a world that's a sandbox world in an action RPG. These are things that no one's done yet. So like they're not promising the world, and then they have nothing.
It seems a very focused team.
Yes,
and I think what I love about this company. It's just probably not them doing it, but I paid a different company. But if you go to their Kickstarter, this is a pretty impressive Kickstarter. Like, they must have paid a lot of money for all the wording and the art. Look at this. Scroll down, you got little gifs going on. Someone Jet Uppercut had a pretty funny line in chat. Inspired by, you mean rip off. The free demo is called Path of Exile. and they have the whole passive skill tree going on in this game too. Yeah. So it's definitely inspired pretty heavily. By Path of Exile.
Path of Exile itself is pretty heavily inspired by Diablo. Right?
Exactly.
Which is pretty heavily inspired. It's that like style of game. And who was the first company that made that first ARPG like game? Was it Diablo 1?
Probably Diablo 1. Yeah, that's my guess.
When did Nox come out? When did Mu Online? Mu Online's probably not that old. Actually.
I think Nox came out a little after Diablo 1.
Because whoever actually came up with that formula is the one that we should give them a lot of credit, because like this has become such an archetype of games, right?
Oh yeah.
You have the DFO style games, right, with instance dungeon, persistent town. Like that became such an archetype of games as well. So whoever actually credited with like starting this, they deserve a lot of credit.
I agree.
Diablo 1 was 1996.
That's an oldie.
Nox was 2000, so yeah. Diablo 1 probably the one of the first.
Yeah, so the main gimmick here apparently in this game is going to be the same. You can traverse the same world, right? Each zone through 4 different epochs, so time periods. So you travel between these these 4 epochs. My guess, I don't know if this is true, but you know how like all these games have about easy mode, hard mode, and hell mode?
Yeah, that's what that is. That's what that is.
So my guess is you play through the game once, and then you like beat the boss, and he accuses you and sends you back in time or something, and then you got to do the whole world over again, and that's like the second difficulty, then the third and the fourth. I could be wrong about this, but that seems like a nice, easy, gimmicky way to do the whole replay the game. You're doing it in different eras, right?
I'm just again amazed by what we're seeing here in terms of playability and what they've already done, what their focus is, and then they're launching a Kickstarter, and they're asking $210,000. We've seen companies ask for more money when they have literally nothing but an idea.
Yeah, definitely.
So this is they've already raised $93,000, and I wish them luck. This is nothing you should feel bad about funding either, because it doesn't seem nearly as risky. Obviously, nothing's without risk, but this seems way more legit than Fractured.
I actually have an interesting perspective on the Kickstarter, though. I'm pretty sure they don't need this money. $200K is not going to make a dent.
Probably.
Okay, so I think this is like marketing for them.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, like, come on. They said their team is about 24 people, 2 dozen. And they've been working on it for about a year. So 24 people for a year, offices and all this stuff. there's no way 200K is going to cover that. I think this is kind of like a pre-sale / marketing.
Yeah, that's probably what that is. Because, it's still actually a good chunk of change. Let's say they work for $50,000 a year each. Forget office. Let's say all that shit's free. They did all bombing in some guy's house, right? 50 grand for each person would be about $1.2 million a year. Would be their their burn rate, their cost of employing those people.
So what's 200K?
But founders and stuff work for free. You have maybe some people running on equity. So 200K is still probably a good chunk of change for them.
I mean, yeah, it's a good chunk of change for anyone. But I'm just saying, I don't think it's
Sure. Yeah, maybe it's outside the spirit of like an idea, but like I don't like the concept of like, oh, you got this cool idea, guys. But then it becomes like this nearly impossible Herculean task of moving earth and mountains to make this innovative MMO that no one's done before. Like the most complex style game for like, I need $50,000. We can make this happen. So come on, guys. Let's be real, guys.
I love Jetapukut's snipes.
20K is a lot of money for a Path of Exile supporter pack, Kappa. I like it.
I think
cool, Shifta.
Yeah. Shifta was telling me about this game a while back before they hit Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm. Pretty badass.
Indeed, I think there's always room for more isometric games. By the way, in the marketplace, you can
I feel like isometric games are just like the default isometric game I've played, ARPG I've played, is just more fun. Like the average one has been more enjoyable, I think, than the average non-isometric game. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. It's hard to fuck it up. It's harder to fuck up.
That goes back to like Dungeon Siege, Diablo, Path of Exile, Nox, like all these old games we played. They were also like of this style,
Indeed.
Actually, when did Dungeon Siege come out? That was old too, wasn't it?
Nah,
no, 2002.
Not that old. It's old, but not
Diablo's just old. Diablo's just really old, apparently.
Yeah, Diablo's really old.
Is there a game like this that came out before Diablo? There might be one. I don't know.
I don't think so. I think Diablo's number one.
Diablo's the granddaddy.
Yep.
Let's see, anything else we got going on here? I'm just personally hyped for MapleStory 2. That's what I'm excited for.
Well, just one more week. We'll get to play it soon.
MapleStory 2 has their own Battle Royale mode now.
What? Oh yeah. I saw that.
Have you seen the video? It's like it's pretty funny because they got the whole blue circles and everything too.
Let me see the video.
All right, let me see if we can find it. It's on MMOs.com. But even MapleStory 2 is embracing Battle Royale. I think it's up to 50 players or something. It's pretty cool. But again, that's what I actually really like about MapleStory 2. We talked about this a few times already, but like the core gameplay there's more to MapleStory 2 than just the core gameplay, right? It's not just like killing monsters and leveling up, right? And going through dungeons. All the weird game modes, the mini games, and like these things you can plug into the game. I feel like MapleStory 2 is built with like you can plug all this other shit into the game that are outside the core elements, and that's what's kind of neat about it, I think. It's actually lit. It's fast-paced, quick, and fun. I haven't played it yet, so I'm eager to. Again, it's not going to be out in the American version probably for some time.
Where do I see the Battle Royale here?
Towards the beginning, if you just skip around, you'll see like a map.
Okay.
It's it.
Oh, I see.
If you see the beginning, you'll see like the blue and stuff.
Got it.
The UGC is one of the best custom content systems I've seen. Jet, that is actually super reassuring because I think that's the game's secret sauce is going to be that custom content stuff. Is going to be what drives MapleStory 2. And I think the next big game is going to be really heavy on player-made content. Wacko, MapleStory 2 is not a battle royale game. It has that, that built into it, which is kind of cool. We all know the best battle royale game is Horizon Source. All right, we all know that's the best.
I uninstalled that.
Actually, did I tell you? One of my friends, I roped another friend to play, right? And Horizon Source, when you make your character name, it gives you random names, right?
Yep.
So he clicked the random name generator, and his name was 24-ounce ribeye.
I remember that.
What a name! What a name! My other friend's name was Algebra. 3 question marks. 3 question algebra. Oh, it's like the most random name generator. It's actually just random words.
It is a confusing subject, so can't blame them.
That's fair. That's fair. Puzzle Pirates needs a battle royale mode, obviously.
Well, I think we had all our topics. Anything else?
Yeah.
Yep, we're right on time, right on schedule. So thank you for watching, guys. Hope that was enjoyable. I know the first 30 minutes was a little heated, but we enjoyed it, so that's all that
I,
counts.
I enjoy the heated discussions.
Yeah.
All right. I think the moral of the story is Alta hates freedom. We'll continue that with the post game.
I will.
That little jab.
I will discuss how much I hate freedom in the post game. So take care, YouTube.
Later for
Yep.
YouTube.